Yeah. Everybody knows that I'm breaking down. Everybody knows I ain't faking now. Everybody knows my heart's vacant now. Yeah, she hates me now, I made mistakes but now I don't ever wanna be alone. I don't really ever feel at home. On my own, in the zone, that's the only way I know. Feeling low, about to blow back up. Here I won't ever let the doubt creep in. Gotta pop a couple more aspirin. I don't think I'll ever let you in. Easier to break it off as friends. I don't really understand myself. I don't really understand, need help. I don't wanna be left on the shelf. Couldn't even hear me if I yelled. It's so cold outside. I'm alone, I'm alright. It's so cold outside. I'm alone, I'm alright. It's so cold outside. I'm alone. It's so cold outside. Break down, always feel like I could break now, but I never let it take me to that place now. I won't ever let my thoughts get away now. I got better things to do, picking fate now. I just wanna be the best, call me great now. I don't know if I'm okay or insane now. I remember better days on the playground, hoping I can find my way even when I'm feeling down. I fight, even when I don't know what is right. I'ma pick a side, and I'ma take pride. I will decide my fate, and I will never let them tell me who I am. If you try to shape me, I'll be damned. Planet on the ground is where I stand. Never give up, that was always the plan. It's so cold outside. I'm alone, I'm alright. It's so cold outside. I'm alone, I'm alright. It's so cold outside. I'm alone. It's so cold outside.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back here to the NEXXTCAR podcast here, week 6 and 7 here with the boys, Peyton Tulloch, Matt Tucker, and Andrew Bolander. What's going on, fellas?
What up, Roddy?
Been a while.
Yes, it has, man. We missed the last, we got 3 races to talk about tonight. A lot of, wait, what? You are really delayed, Cat.
Cats are bugging out.
Yeah, Cat. You might have to end your stream, Cat,
Cat,
and jump
Cat,
back
you look
in.
like you. Cat looks like you fell asleep literally at the wheel.
Well, a lot of stuff happened since our last podcast with just me and you, Matt. I went back to Ohio for 2 weeks. Chase Elliott got suspended. Ryan Blaney ended a 59 race winless streak. A lot of things have happened.
A lot has happened. I mean, not just in NASCAR world. I mean, NEXXTCAR too. We've had a lot of stuff happen. I mean, just different things going on. I mean, it seems like now every other week now, like, I don't know who got suspended or who got fined like this week in NASCAR. So I mean, we had all the stuff with Legacy, then we had Briscoe, then we also had the Chase Elliott Hamlin incident. Elliott's gone, so we got a lot to go over with this podcast.
Absolutely. Let's jump right into it with some league talk here for a little bit. NEXXTCAR, things are heating up here. We just got done with week number 7 here of our longest season ever in NEXXTCAR history. So we're just short of the halfway point. As soon as we conclude Bristol Motor Speedway in 2 weeks, we will be at the halfway point of season 3. Peyton, how's your season gone so far in NEXXTCAR?
let's see, for each series, Trucks has been okay. I mean, Trucks is hard because we got a lot of great guys in there. So, just to run solid. And there's nights that just top fives are a win for us. So, okay, it's kind of what I expected in there. Uh, Cup, I feel like I've had a solid season so far. The first part of the season for me, like there was a lot of tracks that I wasn't a huge fan of. I am historically hate Kansas and had a rough race there last night, but we're finally getting into some tracks that I really like. I mean, we're going to go Road America, Bristol, New Hampshire, a lot of tracks I'm extremely excited for. So I'm excited for the rest of the season there. In Xfinity, even though it's a smaller field, I've had a great year in there. So not too mad about the season so far. For a season that when we went into it, I was kind of like, it's the summer season. I'm going to be busy. I don't really have time to practice. I've done probably better than I thought I would have so far. So, kind of been a solid season for me all around.
It's funny. You said you hate Kansas. Well, after last night, I think I like Kansas just a little more. My first race back in the Cup Series in 3.5 months, and ran top 5 most of the race and brought her home in 6th. And then, the Truck Series, they did one heck of a performance on Sunday night for our first time back up there in the booth broadcast. Our first co-announcer broadcast as well, if that's what you want to call it in iRacing. Seasons 1 and 2 was all me up there, and then Nick is joining for season 3 after him picking up at the beginning of season 3 with the booth broadcast. So, it was great on our end, both of us up there. It all went very well, went really smooth. And then you guys down on the track, I mean, you guys only had one caution. So, and that was very early on in the race. It was kind of like the Cup Series race on Monday night. We had that first caution, and I thought, oh boy, we're in for a long race. And then it just went the rest of the way. Granted, Cup Series ended up with 3 cautions, but I mean, it was a very smooth race after that. Matt, how's your season gone so far?
Well, I can't remember if I was suspended or not by iRacing. It was the last time we did the podcast. So
I think you were.
Okay,
I
well,
think
yeah.
it was
So
the
I'm
week
back.
you were suspended.
So call me Cam Newton. I'm back, kind of. I mean, we had the fairgrounds race where that was fun. Then the truck race Sunday night was fun also. I got a pole, and I pulled the Camaro at the end, going from literally almost the top 5 back to last. So yeah, so that was good. On Cup, on the other hand, though, after just missing the 1 week, been pretty solid. Top 5s the last 2 weeks at Nashville Super Speedway, and then last night at Kansas. So can't complain on the Cup side. I mean, me and Kat have been basically there the whole time, and now Nick's starting to show his strength a little bit these last few weeks too. So he's been on a tear, winning the last 2 races. So and props to him too. He's been the guy to beat these last couple weeks. But yes, but me and Kat missing, or me getting suspended that 1 week, and Kat, I can't remember which race. I think Kat missed the one road course race that we did too. So
shocker.
So yeah, we which one did you miss?
Nashville.
Yeah, so Kat missed Nashville. So we both each have that was like another 30 points that we could have gained back on Nick, so that Nick's got that leg up on us with him racing all the races too. So on the point side, can't complain. And then I think that's really it that I've got on my end. So trying to get another championship under my belt with the Cup Series. So hopefully we can keep on rolling without that the rest of the season, and still have we're not even halfway yet done with NEXXTCAR, are we?
No, next week or in 2 weeks after Bristol, we'll be halfway.
Yeah, so this would literally be almost the end of our season almost. So it's kind of throwing me for a little bit of a loop with the extra 8 races that we had this season. So
it's great.
But the but the competition's just been just as tough as ever. I mean, so it's just gonna be hopefully better things to come down the road with NEXXTCAR.
Kat, you've had a much less eventful season than Tuck has.
Yeah, I don't get into really anything that much, except for me and Peyton gets into each other. But that's been last year, and that was twice, and that was the only incidents I've had in here, besides Zimmer. But this year, Trucks and Xfinity, then up and down, really up and down, and then Cup. I'm in a slump right now, so I mean, we'll just try to go win as many races as we can.
Absolutely. All right, fellas, let's go ahead and back it up 3 weeks here. Coca-Cola 600. Well, it got rained out on Sunday, got moved to a Monday race, and Ryan Blaney shows up once again on a Monday for his third win on a Monday night. He did it at Daytona in the 400, and then he did it at Talladega one year, and then now in the Coke 600, ending the 59 race winless streak.
What you're saying is that Ryan Blaney just needs to get it rained out on a Sunday and hopefully race on a Monday, and he'll have a chance to win. Then is that what you're coming to the conclusion at?
I'm sure he would not be opposed to that idea of NASCAR running on Monday nights.
I mean, it would help. It would make you happy with being all a Ryan Blaney fan. So how does it feel to finally get the monkey off of his back, Ronnie, with supporting him and seeing him very emotional in the victory lane, knowing that he got the job done in another crown jewel event.
Yeah, so obviously it was great to see that happen. Two different aspects of that. You mentioned the emotions. That was something we've never seen out of him ever. Even growing up, that was something never saw out of him. And then even in the Cup Series, maybe a little bit at Pocono, but that's your first win. You're going to be excited then. But then the Roval and his other 5-6 wins, you didn't see that emotion. And then for him to get out of the car as hyped up as he was, and in his post-race interview, I mean, the dude was about to cry, So that's something that, and he mentioned it, after 59 races, you start to wonder, do I still have what it takes? And Truex, I'm sure, felt the same exact way. He was right there in the same number of winless streaks, and, he was thankful his crew still believed in him. And, yeah, it was great to see that emotion out of him. And then, yeah, it was great to see him finally get it done because even as a fan, being buddies with him and everything, you're like, come on, Ryan, man. You can only blame the crew so many times. It was turning into a broken record, but yeah, it was great to see him finally get it done, and to get it done at the Coke 600, the Coke 600 was great, obviously Memorial Day weekend and everything. So that meant a lot on a personal level for him to get it done there.
And I think statistically speaking, like not just minus win, but this is like one of his best seasons to date so far too. Like he's got like 9 top 10s now out of 16 starts. So I don't know, what is that, about almost 2/3 of the races. So I mean, he's finished in the top 10. I mean, he would have had another top 10 last week if it weren't for Michael McDowell spinning him out. But yeah, I think Blaney is kind of the
McDowell spun him.
Yeah, the first time when Allmendinger, that was at
No, that was
Sonoma.
I thought that was Joey.
No.
No, McDowell spun him last week at Sonoma.
Oh, because I know Joey got into him with Chastain behind him, and then Briscoe wrecked him on the same lap for a second time.
No, that was the lap after was when McDowell got it. It was the yellow.
Okay.
He was in the Love's car. That's probably what you're thinking.
Yeah, I just swear it was Joey.
So, no, but anyway, like I think you can slowly consider like you putting Blaney in the contention for champion this season. So he's slowly gaining that. He's kind of got that MO now where he just is flying under the radar, kind of like 10's boy Chastain, even though he doesn't really fly under the radar with the headlines, but on the track he does. So I mean, he just creeps up there, and in the end, like he'll be running top 5 or battling for a win too. So I could definitely see Blaney getting up there and being a championship 4 contender, and then he always runs good at Phoenix too. So I could definitely see him win a championship this season.
I would not be opposed to that. Peyton, what you got?
I mean, I think it's bold to talk about a dude being a championship hopeful when he got outran by Josh Bilicki last Sunday for most of the race.
Oh my gosh,
hey,
it was a road course. It was a road course. What are you doing?
I'm just saying. But
okay.
shout out to Ryan Blaney. You know, the Monday, I guess, of the 600.
Wait a minute. Hold on. So does
He
that mean
was-
that Josh Bilicki's better than Chastain if Ryan's beating Chastain in the points?
Exactly.
What? I'm just saying.
Is Josh
Anywho.
Bilicki the new Cody Ware of the
Actually,
NEXXTCAR racing
actually,
podcast?
thanks to Blaney's terrible performance, he's behind Ross again. So just
Is
put
he
that out
now?
there.
I don't know. I
Yeah,
haven't
he's
seen updated points.
about 5 points. They're like, I think Ross is 24 behind the leader and Blaney's 29. But anyways, the 600, that Monday was a sad day to be Kyle Petty, even though he was probably smiling last Sunday. But shout out to Ryan Blaney. To give you an idea how long it's been, I kept the list pretty short out of respect to Ronnie. But since last time Ryan Blaney won, Penske Racing has won 6 races, including a Daytona 500, and a car for their team has won a championship, while Ryan Blaney has rode around doing absolutely nothing. So it's about time the dude got the monkey off the back. So congrats to Ryan Blaney.
I'm going to
And,
debate
yeah.
with you on that 500. He'd have won that if Cindric wasn't an asshole teammate and wrecked him.
I mean,
Also,
that's
Blaney
fair.
won the All-Star race too, so it wasn't like
Yeah,
the
so,
Blaney
so all
was-
right, all right.
Point
So if you're going to
Yeah.
keep
Point
that list,
saying.
Yeah.
if you're going to keep that list, let me pull up the list since Chastain's last one.
And I put perspective.
Yeah,
Last-
I go back a calendar
Daniel
year.
Suarez has won since Chastain last
Yeah.
one.
Yeah, that's true.
It's
So
been a
is,
calendar year since Ross
so is
Chastain.
Chris
Ross
Buescher is
Chastain
also
is known
one.
more for the Hail Mary
Eric
than he is his 2
Jones.
wins.
Yeah, you bring up Chastain's name, immediately people are like, "Oh, it's moving Martinsville."
hell
no one
no.
remembers his wins.
Hey, I'm just
I'm
saying. At
not
least
saying that
we,
people remember Ryan's wins, but I'm just
Right.
saying Chastain will always be known for that one moment.
He could win
Always.
a championship and he'd still
Mhm.
be known for the Hail Mary.
Yep, that will
At
always
least-
be his shining moment.
We'll see. I mean, Ross has got a long career, to go. Like he could do something else crazy. Who knows? I mean, the dude before the Hell Melon, it's already crazy to forget. The dude took a shortcut at Indy Road Course. Like, he's gonna try to find something else to do. So he might find a way to top. It's gonna be hard, but anywho, I mean, at least when Ross was last one, like we were at least talking about iRacing. To put in perspective, we didn't even ever dream about iRacing last time Ryan Blaney won, and let alone here we are in season 3. So it's been a long time for both, but a little bit longer for Ryan.
Kat, what you got?
I just pulled up the standings, first of all. Ryan Blaney is tied with Chastain.
Oh, is
Oh.
he? Okay.
Oh,
Wait,
No.
who's
Oh.
29 points behind then? I thought it was Blaney.
Kyle Busch is 29 points behind.
Okay.
Ooh.
So
Yeah.
I misremembered. Okay, there you go.
Because it goes Blaney's third because he has a win at 501 points, Chastain
Blaine-
501, and then Harvick at 500.
Yeah, that's right.
Oof.
And then Tuck's guy.
How embarrassing.
Oh my goodness.
Guys,
like,
I'm bringing
who
up
are you
the rear down in 23rd points.
23rd.
Who
We got
is-
3 top 10. We got 3 top 10s on the year and an average finish of 19.5.
Who is
so we were
Haley?
running a Yeah.
Hey,
So-
don't feel
Hey,
bad.
his
you know,
fan
my
base is
other
growing.
driver-
His fan base
I
is
saw
growing. I
that.
saw that picture that someone posted in the chat.
That
Yeah,
is,
glad
It's you
glad
and
to see
that
we have a new,
7-year-old girl.
yeah, glad to see that there's a new member of the Justin Haley fan club. So
Don't feel bad. Tuck.
Yeah.
My other driver is just so irrelevant at this point. I don't even get to talk about him anymore, thanks to
I don't
the
even
Well, yeah,
remember
that's
who your
'cause
other
he's- that's 'cause
driver
he's
is.
a-
on and
that's because he's in jail.
Chase
So
Briscoe.
Oh,
I'm talking about
Oh.
Cody Ware.
Cody
Cody
Ware.
Ware. I'm talking about Chase Briscoe, man.
oh god. All right,
Oh
back,
yeah,
to,
what's up?
back to Cat.
Yeah.
so, but yeah, good to see Blaney finally win. Honestly, I was not wanting him to because I don't want the new winner yet.
Mm.
I want Harvick to win. I don't give a crap who wins after Harvick wins. But Blaney win was all right, I guess. So, but there's more important things to talk about that Charlotte than him.
Oh, 100%. Absolutely. Let's jump into it. Kat, lead us off because I know you hate this guy just as much as I do. Chase Elliott suspended for retaliation with Hamlin.
Yeah, so it worked out because it's 2 drivers I don't like too. So it really surprised me that he did that. So, but I was wishing he got more punishment than that.
NASCAR got put in a box though because
Mhm.
of what they ruled with Bubba Wallace last year. So So if they weren't as consistent with that ruling, then I don't know if they would have suspended Chase Elliott because it was Chase Elliott too. So they could have.
I'm glad he got suspended though. So that was.
Right.
I
Yep.
don't think he should get the waiver though. I don't think he should have.
I
They
agree.
give waivers to everybody.
I feel like
that's what they just need to get rid of the waiver rule.
So I agree with the waiver for an injury, but I feel like if you get suspended, like Chase Elliott or even Josh Williams, as terrible as that situation was, I feel like if you get suspended, your waiver becomes not approved anymore. You know, but yeah,
So what, they just can't make the playoffs anymore.
you just point your way in, win a race or
Well,
point
yeah,
your way
but if
in.
you don't, but the waiver rule is because you have to do all the races though, so that's why they offer the waivers.
Right. Well, if you're suspended, then you obviously did something that prohibited you from being able to do all the races.
So you're automatically out of playoff eligibility then because you didn't run all the races.
Then
That's
don't
why
hook a
they
guy
offer
in the
waivers.
right rear into the outside wall.
Oh, I'm not saying
You know?
you're wrong. No, but
I'm saying for the injuries, I'm perfectly fine with the waiver.
Right.
I'm perfectly fine that way. But if you do something on the track that results in a week suspension or however long, you should not get a waiver for that.
I can't agree with that.
See, that's when I think that they need to get rid of the playoff eligibility being racing every race. If they have win in you're in, it just needs to be win in you're in. You're not going to have guys literally win one race and then not race anymore.
Well,
Like that needs to be the rule. It doesn't. I don't know. I mean, you're going to have guys that are going to use it to if they take that away, but I don't know. It's just a crook system the way it is. Just the whole playoff system is NASCAR has so many rules to keep track of, so it's just a mess. So
And it seems like every race they're adding another rule. Every race.
personally, I think the easiest way to fix that is just make it a percentage. Make it a percentage of how many races you have to attend. That way, if you're hurt, I mean, that falls into it. Suspended, that falls into it. You just skip, that falls into it. That way, I mean, not take anything away from like Kyle Busch's championship season, but people still complain about that because the dude missed so many races but got bailed because of the system and won a race. So I think, if you really have a problem with suspensions, everything, make it so they want to be there. Just make it, set in stone line. Don't make it questionable. Take out that gray area of, well, should this guy get a waiver? Should this guy not? Just say, hey, you got to make this many races. If you don't make it, you ain't eligible to the playoffs. That makes it simple.
But also, so if you do the percentage thing, so 26 regular season races, if you do 95%, that basically comes out 24.7. So if you do 95%, the races you have to do, that gives you one race to miss. So
I think I'd want more than that because I think like you'd probably add 26. I think like 20 would probably be a good number. 6 races. That if you have a big injury, you have time to come back. But then that's going to hurt the suspension crowd because the suspension isn't that important. So I don't know. It's a hard one to call on that one because that whole thing's kind of sticky. I don't think you can take a dude's, playoff eligibility away for, getting suspended though, because like that impacts more than just them. Like I know it's a selfish thing they did on the track, but then you're going to penalize every dude that worked hard on those cars. You're going to penalize the sponsors who thought they were in the playoffs. Like that whole thing is just a terrible situation. It's going to make people mad. NASCAR doesn't need that. So while I understand you don't want guys to miss a race and it not really matter. I understand that because at the end of the day, Chase Elliott mattered. But let's say he had one race already, it wouldn't really mattered. But I get that, but it's just too hard of a thing to really judge, in my opinion, a rule.
Well, here's another thing: even if the sponsors are mad and everything, the car can still be in the playoffs without the driver being in the playoffs.
No one cares about the owners' playoffs. Everybody knows that.
Ryan Reese does.
No one does, but still, if Barry did it. So if Barry won, that Napa would still be happy because they would be in the owners' playoffs.
That's true. Just not in the main playoffs. Just the one that's forgotten inside over there.
Yeah, but it's still money and a prize money for the owners' championship.
That's true. That's true.
I mean, look, Kyle Larson had something to race for last year because he was in the owners championship Final Four instead of the
Yep.
regular season Final Four. But yeah, then you have that situation. That when you said that, it made me think of Ryan Priest and Elliott Sadler back when they had that little scrimmage when Priest took away Sadler's drivers championship because he was racing for the owners championship too. So I don't know, that just popped in my head, but yeah, I think Chase Elliott will be fine, and he'll probably get a win at a road course. So who knows?
He ain't crapping the road courses anymore.
I don't know
He
about
hasn't
that.
won-
Come on now.
He hasn't won
He's-
in 2 years, almost 2 years.
Yeah,
He would've-
Reddick's the new road course.
He would have
guru.
won the Indy. He would have won the Indy Roval the first year for the one caution. So, and then I forget who spun him, but
Hamlin, I think.
yeah, I forget it. But he would have won because the caution came. Him and Larson were battling for the win, and that was when that caution came out. So, I think that's the last like road course that Elliott's been good at was the 2021 Indy. So I couldn't name another road course that he was running up front other than last week. But last week was due to strategy though.
Mhm.
So
Walker's Glen last year until Larson
oh yeah, that's true.
did the world a favor and knocked him out of the way.
That's true.
Not to get too far off topic, I will say about the Chase Elliott Dane Hamlin thing. Personally, on a personal level, I was super happy because I'm not a big fan of either of them, and that made that very clear. But to defend Chase, I think this one was much more like not obvious as like Bubba's. See, Bubba like chased Larson down the track at Vegas. It was very obvious what he was doing, and he turned him. Like there's no argument. Chase, he had Hamlin right beside him. He had Brad behind him. It looked like he got a little loose. I don't know. I'm still about 80% sure he did it, but there's not 100% clarity for me for Chase. So I liked the ruling for consistency. If NASCAR didn't have did that, like man, you'd have had all hell break loose because it really would have been Golden Boy at that point. But to defend Chase, I still won't 1,000% like confirm he did it. However, I do think either way, it was dangerous and stupid, and NASCAR had to do something. It's no matter if it was fully on purpose or not. And this whole thing about you hear a lot of analysts saying like Chase has to win now, Chase has to win now. I'm gonna pump the brakes on that. I don't know if Chase has to win. If Chase runs, as good as a Hendrick car can, he's gonna be right around that bubble when it's all said and done. Especially if guys in front of him at that cutoff line, which is it's only 16th. If they start struggling, can very well happen. So Chase
is
Elliott's
80
he's an interesting
Chase-
story to watch the rest of the season or the regular season because he's gonna be right there. So we'll see what happens to Chase.
Chase is 84 points back with 10 races to go.
That's doable. I mean, that's fully
That's-
doable. That's Chase. Like, get stage points. Get top tens. He's gonna be right there at Daytona.
Oh,
Now,
let's just hope Hamlin shows up and they run next to each other a couple times.
Yeah, right.
But
Hope he right.
Whatever happened to the Chastain Hamlin rivalry now? What the heck? That
no one
was
cares
gone.
about that anymore.
I know that's old news.
No one has
Oh, no.
talked about that in weeks until we went to WWT. And
Yeah,
then
that's true.
immediately everybody remembered.
What's bad
Everybody
is, like,
remembered that.
Hamlin likes the dude. Like, it's kind of funny. I don't even think they're mad at each other at all anymore. They're just kind of
Until
like,
they run into each other.
yeah, of course. If they because it's gonna happen again. I mean, you're gonna
Right.
run into everybody at some point.
Especially when it's Chastain. He runs into everybody.
Just saying, but
I will give Chastain credit. Though. Last week at Sonoma, he had a chance to
No.
take out Logano and backed out.
Logano should have got his ass dumped for that.
Yeah.
That is if you want proof that something is up with Ross and they said shit, just go look at what Ross did for Logano. That dude hit the brakes for Logano. I ain't never seen Ross back out like he did for Logano. So I will say I think it's affected his performance a lot. That team has been off since Darlington. So I think no one's probably more excited about having a break because that team is as cold as it can get right now. But yeah, Logano should be very happy because he was driving extremely aggressive with those blocks. That's Logano, though.
It surprised me that Chastain braked like almost as bad as when, as surprised as Ronnie was surprised when Camaro hit the brakes.
Jesus.
All right, let's go ahead and let's move on to WWT 2 weeks ago. Worldwide Technology in St. Louis. let's talk about the big headline out of that race. Corey LaJoie jumping in that number 9 car for the weekend. Well, he did not perform too good in it. So, Corey, definitely not a good look for him. But, yeah, Kyle Busch getting his 3rd trip to victory lane. That was pretty cool.
Yeah, to defend Corey, I mean, all of Hendrick was way off that day. Like, everybody's fussing at Corey when he's running 30th or whatever, but you look right beside him, like,
Larson was there.
There's Larson. So,
Yep.
like, truly, is it really Corey? I don't think it's fair to really judge Corey for that race because Hendrick was just off all day. But it was awesome seeing him get an opportunity to race something like that. Corey's always been one of those, kind of cool guys in the garage who's never really had a massive opportunity. To see him, getting a seat of a big time ride for one race, even if it was a race that the team was off, was pretty cool for him. I'm sure he learned a lot of stuff. He got to bring the Spire and stuff. So awesome for him. It was also a shocking opportunity for Carson Hocevar, and I thought he really impressed, at least me. I mean, he was beating big guys, running almost the top 15 before the brake rotor broke and ended his day. But I think he turned a lot of heads, and I think he's probably became the number 1 candidate for that 8 car at JRM. But yeah, it was a good race, and Kyle Busch. I mean, people talked about the 4 or 5 wins. The dude's already at 3 now. So he is hot. I didn't think Kyle Busch would come out this hot with a new team, but here he is. So hey, Rowdy's back, I guess.
I'll say this though about LaJoie and Hocevar. If I'm LaJoie, I am pissed because literally I would have rather been in the Spire car
Yeah.
than literally the Hendrick car. Like, I think if you put LaJoie in the car, like, I think he's running top 10.
Yeah.
I think he's top 10 at that point. So, I mean, but you got to give Hocevar props to the way he handled that whole situation too. I mean, I know how they were mentioned in the media center, like he gave like all like the media members like a card and like a drink of this of Celsius. That way, like they can like, hi, my name is Carson Hocevar. I'm driving number 7 today, even though it says Corey LaJoie on the hood. So like that just shows like his character. If I'm a sponsor, like I know we talked about it before, but if I'm a sponsor, like I would want to have that guy represent my brand because like he will do it to the max. So, but as it goes for also with that too, like I would hope Hocevar is matured a little bit with his antics that he has done in the past.
Peyton's illegal puppy mill.
And welcome to the NEXXTCAR dog sitting service. So yeah. So, but yeah, I think
What kind of dog is that?
It's a puppy. It's a lab puppy.
Yeah, no kidding. It's a puppy. I know that. I know it's not an 11-year-old dog.
It's a silver lab puppy.
Huh,
he's probably thinking, excuse me, sir, can you bring me back to my family? I haven't snacked.
Can you take me back to my bed? I'm tired now.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, he looks tired. Look at him.
I think he's a little shocked right now. He's usually pretty needy, but he kind of chilling.
What's the guy's name?
Right now, his name is Vader. Yeah,
Vader?
they were born on May the 4th, and that's Star Wars Day, so they all got Star Wars names. So
all right, we're done with Star Wars. Go back to your topic, Matt. Not a big Star Wars fan at all.
All right, puppy's leaving. Bye, puppy.
Bye R2D2. But anyway, yeah, I mean, Hocevar got the opportunity of a lifetime, and I think he proved his stuff where he can get a decent ride. I think he still needs Xfinity experience because look what he did in that Spire car. He was running top 10 literally almost the whole race with them at the Charlotte too. So I think you give Hocevar some more seat time. He's gonna be a name to be reckoned with later on his career too. So, but then also it goes for Kyle Busch too. Making Austin Dillon look pretty bad. I mean, he's got 3 wins at RCR in 15 races, and Austin Dillon has 4 wins at RCR in 10 years. So, I mean,
why do you act surprised on that? Like, it's Austin Dillon. Like, what?
I'm just saying, like, that just proves that, like, put somebody in the 3 car, like, you're gonna get more results.
The golden spoon-fed kid of NASCAR. Yeah, everyone wants to talk about Chase Elliott being the golden boy. Well,
but I will say this about Austin Dillon though. He always seems to find his way in the playoffs one way or another too. So I mean, you got to give him credit for that.
And he wins
But
the
even
big
though-
races.
Fluky way,
Yeah.
but he wins with fluky way, like the whole dang field wreck. Did you see
I
the
know.
wreck at Daytona last year? The entire field wrecks out due to rain, and who's the one car that magically makes it through? The 3 car. I swear, he's got like that Dale.
That was like me
charm.
last
Or-
night at freaking iRacing. So like
or-
literally the seas just parted.
Or
Yeah,
he wrecks
exactly.
the field like he did that poor Almirola in
Yeah,
that
yeah.
500.
Okay, that's going for a 500 win. Like
Okay,
I
but if
don't blame him
Chastain
for
went
that.
out and did that, I
Oh,
know
no.
darn well we would all be complaining about Chastain if he
Exactly.
had done that. And I'm not defending Chastain because I hate the guy, but if he went out there and did that for the win at the 500, oh boy, we'd all be complaining. So you can't use that as an excuse.
Hendrick, same thing. He did to Blaney.
That's different. No, I'm kidding. Kat, what you got?
Well, first, Cindric's a goat for that.
Almighty.
for what?
It's been downhill ever since then for Hendrick.
I was gonna say, that's all
Oh,
he's
yeah.
done in the last 2 or 3 years. Is he even
Well,
in the
it's-
top 20 in points?
No, he's not. Cinder's like 21st.
He'd be a good sleeper pick.
Yeah, he's
I
at the
think
point
he's
now.
done.
LaJoy's beating him in points, isn't he?
Yeah,
I don't think so. Not anymore.
because
Oh.
he passed them. They're really close to
I-
each other, which if
I
you
look.
think about it, is sad.
It's 21st.
Cindric's 21st. LaJoy's 22nd. 1 point separates Austin Cindric and Corey LaJoy. Allmendinger though is now in the top 20, and so is Michael McDowell.
McDowell's been there.
I was gonna say McDowell's had a pretty solid season,
Another reason why front row is better than JTG.
100%.
Excuse me, sir. Ricky Stenhouse is in 14th in the
He's
points.
carrying.
He
Ricky
has a
Stenhouse-
win.
Ricky Stenhouse could be a top like 12 driver
Yeah, I'd agree.
Mhm.
I think
if he's good equipment.
If he's at front row.
Same way with McDowell. Put McDowell in.
I don't
better
see
equipment.
McDowell 12 driver.
Have you seen, not getting off topic, but I was scrolling through TikTok 2 nights ago, 3 nights ago. Have you seen the rumors of McDowell taking over Almirola's ride?
If I'm that, I would not want to do that. I'd
It's-
rather stick in the 34 car.
it's a rough situation because you got to remember, basically, front row has 3 guys and 2 seats. So
Mhm.
who's going to move? Like somebody's got to move, and all 3 are pretty solid choices. So most likely, I think all 3 are full time in Cup next year. So I wouldn't be surprised at all if Stuart Haas tries to grab one of those 3 guys, and if they want a veteran, Michael McDowell makes sense.
In my opinion, Zane Smith has got to go to front row. They
Yeah,
can't
but
afford to lose him.
If I'm Stuart
They
Haas and I
can't
offer
afford it.
them a bunch of money, they'll buy out that contract though. So I mean,
Yeah.
that's what's gonna happen.
What if front row goes to a 3-car team? We talked about the charter system and Stuart Haas trying to downsize. What if they buy that charter and
I
bring in
don't-
Zane Smith and they become a 3-car team?
I don't think they would get the charter from Stuart Haas. They would get it from like Spire, the second Spire team, or a Rick Ware if they want to downsize. I don't think it would come.
Who's
from,
the second? Oh, Dylan's the second Spire.
Probably Dylan.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
The
still
Waffle-
think
The
I
guy that
reported-
didn't make 3 laps in the first 10 races.
would
Yeah.
would front row really want to invest that much money in a third charter instead of investing that money to make their team better though? See, that's kind of where
More
I'm on the-
money. I know, but it's
Yeah.
more money though to get that third team. It's
Oh.
as backwards as that sounds. It's more
just-
money.
I don't know if they're in the spot I would want to upsize. Like,
Mhm.
I think you want results first. Like, that's kind of like track houses had that mindset. They don't want to rush too fast to get bigger because they want to take away from the track performance. So
Right.
that's why I think SHR should downsize because obviously they can't field 4 like cars that can even run top 10 anymore. So yeah, but I don't know. That whole situation is going to be interesting when the off season comes because Zane Smith's going to be in Cup next year. I think we're all kind of confident in that. Where will it be, and who will get moved for him?
I'm impressed with Todd Gilliland still. I mean, he's 24th in points, and he's been Rick Ware's cars and front row.
Yeah.
He's ahead of Ryan Preece and Almirola.
Who
he
is
showed up.
this?
Todd
Todd-
Gilliland.
Yeah.
Mm.
He has been handed a terrible card and made the best of it all season long. I've been extremely impressed with him. So that's why
Maybe-
I think. Before I thought he was going to get screwed next season and be out of Cup. I think he's showed too much that he's earned a ride somewhere. It might not be with Front Row next season, but someone will give him a Cup ride, or at least a very good ride in the lower series. He will not get like fully screwed over. I don't believe.
That's
Maybe the
some guy.
maybe Wood Bros be smart and get rid of Harrison Burton for him.
That would make sense.
I've seen rumors of Harrison Burke going to the 10.
Oh
which
my
I
God.
don't know why.
That would be a terrible
Then-
decision. Harrison
I know it
Burton
would
is
be.
not a Cup
Hey,
driver.
what makes sense of that
He got
though
pushed
is
to Cup though.
if they
so I
lose,
mean,
they lose the bacon money though. Dex has a lot of money for Harrison. So
Yeah,
that makes sense.
that's what I
Sponsor
saw.
guy for sponsor guy. So to be
yeah.
fair, it makes sense, but that would be terrible for SHR, I believe.
But
at
same
least
with
for-
McDowell. McDowell's got the backing of Loves.
Yeah.
Loves is a
Yeah.
huge company.
They seem like.
But
pretty
Loves was
loyal
there
to
way
Front
before
Row.
McDowell though. Loves
Yeah.
sponsored
Well,
Chris
yeah,
Buescher.
absolutely. Right.
Yeah.
But I'm just
Right.
saying he could possibly get them to go with him. And
Be
that
hard.
would be that'd be bigger than
But isn't
Dex or
Loves
Smithfield.
isn't Loves a company owned by the Front Row owner though?
No.
Sure.
I thought Bob Jenkins owns Loves.
Does he?
can't-
I don't think so.
Oh,
Maybe.
I don't know.
I don't know.
I feel like you might be right with that.
Anyway, now that we're talking kind of about money wise, totally off topic here. But did you see where Joey Logano went on? I think it was Kenny Wallace's podcast, and how Logano said like how he had to buy the Thor Sport ride, like how he wasn't offered. He had to, like buy the ride to drive at the Bristol Dirt Race that he won.
No.
Like he
Good.
had that's what he says is so correct about, because even like a 2-time Cup champion had to buy a ride to race. Like he had to have sponsors. It wasn't just handed to said like, hey, drive the truck.
Hey,
What?
So
That makes sense. I
Yeah.
mean,
got
they
him.
have
Yeah.
4 trucks and they don't have that many sponsors. I mean, they don't have a
Right.
sponsor that's probably sitting around, so it makes sense. Like they don't want to freaking
Right.
put Joey out there with a non-sponsored truck. Like that'd be look kind of dumb.
Especially
know,
for
but
Thor
just-
Sport.
But
Yeah,
it just
like-
shows how corrupt, like I was talking about, like Harrison Burton and the money wise. But it just shows how corrupt the system is now. Like you have guys that are buying rides that are going to be racing cars that you should have different guys in with more talent, obviously. So I just kind of like talk about with Harrison Burton too. So like you put, let's say, who's top guy in Xfinity right now? Probably what? Austin Hill. Put Austin Hill in the 21 car. I bet you he's top 20 in points instead of Harrison Burton.
Austin Hill needs to go to that 3 car.
I would love that.
That'd be cool.
Or
It's not
I
gonna
would
happen.
I would personally want him in the 4 car, but I mean, he would be a lot better than 3 than Dylan.
Could you imagine him and Kyle Busch together as a teammate?
That would be the ideal
That would
pairing.
be great.
Two hardcore guys.
Mhm.
And if I'm Childress, I'd do anything you can to keep Austin Hill. Like I could see Austin Hill replacing Josh Berry in the 8 next year too. If he sees that as a better path to Cup than what RCR does, because right now there's really no seats at RCR unless they want to expand. So
But it would make sense for a team like that if they've had like before the Reddick blow up, like Reddick started blowing up, Kyle's came in, he's blown up. Like they actually are now a competitive team. For a while there, they were not competitive at all. Now they are. So I could see RCR being like, hey, let's get an extra car, or let's bring in, Hill or Creed or whoever like they want to come up. So I think that'd make a lot of sense for them.
Oh, there's a second dog in the podcast now.
Yep. Showing off his
he
fresh
got
cut.
groomed too.
Yep. Showing off his fresh cut. Huh.
I got my dog right here. Hey.
Fresh fade. But
Beautiful.
I don't even know. What were we on? We were on WWT, weren't we?
Yeah, so now we got Sonoma.
All right, so let's talk about the most recent race, Sonoma.
There's one thing you need to forget about Gateway.
Which
With Cindric Dillon.
Oh yeah.
honestly, I must have missed that
Right.
because I saw them talking about it on the internet and everything, and it didn't mean anything to me.
Basically, go ahead, Tim.
I thought it was crazy that they tried to put that all on Cindric. Like, you go watch, it looks like Austin Dillon is lost. Like, the dude's on the bottom of the track and starts coming up, and Cindric's there. And sure, Cindric is slightly coming down, yes, to kind of meet a bit. But to act like Austin Dillon was driving in a straight line and Cedric just came down the track and totaled him and, did all on purpose, I think is foolish. I think everybody's just kind of like, Chase got spin it last week, so everybody's on their toes, and so you see something kind of similar. It's like, oh, it's to spin this guy now. Like, yeah, slow down a little bit. That I get it goes down as a racing incident, but I put that more on Austin Dillon. To add on the RCR talk of how bad Austin Dillon is, there's another one.
Which got,
I think it was kind of a little overreaction of what happened the week prior. So Austin Dillon felt like he got right hooked into the wall, kind of like how Chase Elliott right hooked Hamlin. So I think that's why if you don't have that last week, Austin Dillon doesn't react like that. So the only reason why he reacted is because what happened the week prior. So.
Cat.
Yeah, well, first the replay shows like both Dylan moving up and Cindric moving down. So I don't see where I think Dylan just wanted attention, but then Hamlin on his podcast said Cindric was mad at Dylan for like laps prior. So I don't know. I guess only Cindric knows if it was or not. But I don't see him doing that, especially just what happened with Elliott the week before. And he's already having a not so great year anyway. So I thought it was just hard racing, honestly.
Yeah, you'd have to be an idiot after seeing the golden boy Chase Elliott get suspended the week prior to go out there and do the same exact thing, and think you could get away with it. So yeah, I don't see Cindric doing that at all. But like you said, he's the only one that knows, if that was intentional or not.
Yeah.
It's all perspective and at this point. But
yep.
Sonoma, Truex, last season went winless. We were talking about his winless streak. Well, this season already 2 wins. So while his old teammate Kyle Busch is up and coming at his new team, well, Truex is trying to reinvent JGR.
Classic Truex win. The dude, if Truex isn't like competing for the win at the very beginning of the race, he's probably not going to be competing all day for it. If Truex is going to win, he's going to load out and be one of the fastest cars from the start to finish of the race, and that's exactly what happened. So, dude was class of the field, no doubt. He looked like he had an extra gear on everyone else all day long. So, I will say track position was obviously very key. Today, like you saw it, like with Kyle Busch, prime example, dude was running like 15th or so, maybe a little better than that. He gets a lucky break with the caution, and then the dude runs top 2 the rest of the race. So I will say that, but Truex was the one guy that was really good at driving through the field, even when he didn't have track position. That's how much quicker he was. So very much earned win for Truex. The dude's kind of like, I didn't realize how good he was at Sonoma. Like I knew he's won races there, but then you start adding him up and seeing where he ranks. The dude's, that's one of his best tracks. So congrats to him on getting another win there.
Which is crazy to think because you don't think of Truex as a road course driver at all.
It's just Sonoma.
It's just Sonoma.
Well,
yeah, and occasionally Watkins Glen.
And the Roval. He almost won there until he locked up the tires in the inaugural Roval race. And took out
Jimmy.
Johnson.
No, Jimmy.
Oh, Jimmy. Yeah, Jimmy blocked him up.
Out. Yeah.
But so he almost won that. That's
fair.
the only time I ever liked Johnson. Because, Ryan got the win. But anyway.
You're right.
Yeah, so, yeah, when you just think of road courses, Truex isn't the first name that comes to mind. But like you said, he was up there all day. In the first half of the race, it was him and Hamlin battling it out. And then you said, Kyle Busch with that very interesting decision to throw a yellow. I think that was NASCAR's version of, we need a caution, let's just throw it. They were looking for any excuse. A squirrel could have ran out on the track and they'd have thrown the caution.
Are you talking about the tire?
Yes.
The tire on pit road?
Yes.
Whose tire was it? I totally forget.
Zane Smith, I think.
It was Zane Smith.
And the worst part was it was bouncing back towards the pit stalls. So it's not even like it was going to stay out in the lane.
To be fair, by definition, it is a legit reason for yellow. However, I fully understand your point. Someone could have easily just ran over there and grabbed it and came back.
No one was
It'd be
pitting.
fine.
I'm upset. There was not 2 cars involved in a racing incident, so it should have kept going. So
Jesus Christ.
I think we need one of those.
I hope
Guaranteed
Erickson black
problems.
flags you while you're leading one race.
Yeah, right.
oh,
Go
man.
ahead, Kat.
I said I wish we had one of those cautions on Sunday after the first caution.
Yeah, me too. Me too.
Not me.
I was literally thinking about making one of my own.
Oh lord.
Where's
I'll say
Camaro
that.
when you want him?
Yeah, Jesus.
Banned.
Yeah.
So, he's about to say suspended.
Well, he's more than suspended. He's him and Zimmer on the same island of misfits and NEXXTCAR. So
Been on a vacation.
yeah,
Well,
long
yeah.
vacation, permanent
Permanent-
vacation.
Yeah, possibly a permanent vacation.
Yeah, I think that
So-
was just NASCAR's way of we need a caution. Let's throw it.
So now going back to Truex, do you guys consider him a championship favorite now? I mean, he's leading the points. He's gotten 2 wins. I mean, he's
Based on that, his name's got to be in there. Do I think he has the potential to do it? No.
Wow.
I mean, all the rumors about him retiring and everything, and now he's out there. He's won 3 races this season if you count the Clash at LA, but he just seems. It seems like he got some stuff out of his life, and he's had some stuff happen and everything. So I mean, he seems more happier is what I forget who, I think Boyer said that on the podcast. Like Truex seems more. He's stress free. So I don't know if it's life changes. It can give you a refreshing thing. So
I think two
So-
things play into that. His ex-girlfriend and Bush leaving JGR. I think
I don't know.
I don't think Kyle has anything to do with it, but I will
Well.
say I think you can stop talking about Truex retiring because he's not going to retire next year.
no.
Or-
As long as he's
No.
out there winning races and having fun.
Yeah.
yeah,
If he
Truex-
did not
I think he's
retire
got
after
another- he's
last
got another-
season, if he didn't
He's not
retire
retiring
after
this
last season, he's not retiring after this season.
no,
I think he's got another 2 to 3 years left.
And
Right.
yeah, probably. And as for him being a championship competitor at this point, we're at the point now where the NBC broadcast is over and looking at the field, it's kind of hard to pick a favorite now because everybody's kind of had their moment of being really good and then being off. Like Ross was really good at one point, now he's off. Some guys had slow starts, and here comes Truex. Bush has kind of been up and down a little bit, but he's right there. No one has been like full on like every week perfect and just kind of been that guy like we have to beat that dude. So even like Kyle Larson's been way up and down. So at this point in the season, I think it's a kind of big list of guys you would throw in a pool right now that can win the championship, and Truex has got to be in that pool. However, if you're picking your final 4, if we all sat here and picked our final 4 right now, I think they would all look completely different because there's a big group of guys you could pick right now that realistically are very good options.
You want to do that? After we're done talking about Sonoma, we can talk about our final 4 picks since we don't have a race this week.
I think we
halfway.
should do that.
we
Let's do
can.
it.
It'd be
But-
hard.
But I want to go back to give a little more perspective on the whole Kyle Busch thing that you guys all disagreed with. You guys, you have that guy in, Peyton, in your case, college, working, whatever. You have that coworker that comes in, always has a terrible attitude, always down, tearing people apart like Busch does. Well, that brings the morale down, and that's going to hurt the performance. Well, now Kyle Busch is gone. Yeah, we're seeing a completely different side of Kyle Busch. But now everyone at JGR, besides Christopher Bell's kind of struggling a little bit lately. But everyone else has picked it up. I mean, we just talked about Hamlin battling in the first half until he hit the wall and took himself out. But, you get rid of that quote-unquote toxic environment, and everyone's going to start stepping it up. So that's what I was getting towards with, Busch's departure from JGR maybe affecting that.
That's fair. But I don't think Kyle's like that behind closed doors. I don't want to say like Kyle Busch is necessarily like a character at times, but I think he kind of eats into it. Like everybody knows that at least he was the bad dude and all he had been. So I think he kind of just like he purposely throws out some answers to interviews and crap. But I don't think Kyle Busch is like always like that. I highly doubt Kyle Busch is just the biggest asshole, in like driver meetings. I could be wrong, but I don't know if working with Kyle Busch as a teammate is like the worst experience ever. If anything, I think he probably helped Joe Gibbs get where they are today. So I
Oh,
get your point.
100%.
Yeah, I get your point, but I don't know if Truex is like I just don't see Truex and Kyle Busch just being like you know butting heads. I think they'd probably get along, but that's
Oh,
just me.
100% they get. You don't, when a guy wins, you don't go up and squeeze his ass on the podium at
Yeah.
the clash and not
Yeah.
be friends with the guy. So obviously, yeah, they're good friends, but just that morale drops for everybody in the team.
Yeah, I will say when Kyle Busch started having those terrible runs, and I'm sure that's where team morale got bad as a whole because like Joe Gibbs was just way off. For a while, like dang, poor Kyle Busch. That last 10 races, I feel bad for the dude. It was I'll never forget that Martinsville race. I mean, Kyle Busch literally ran, no joke, 5 laps behind everybody on speed. Like that's not Kyle Busch. I mean, come on now. So
That and
I don't know.
Darlington.
Yeah, Darlington was rough one, too.
Darlington was the.
Just leading on a yellow, bam, blows up in the season right there. So yeah, I agree with Joe Gibbs was in a dark spot right there, and now that it's kind of over, I'm sure Joe Gibbs is a better place. Um, so maybe that's true. Maybe that's the whole thing. Truex had his ups and downs. He was having problems off the track, no wins on the track. Kyle Busch was leaving and everything. Joe Gibbs was in a rough spot. They were dealing with Ty Gibbs drama and Xfinity every week. So I mean, they were having a rough year last year. So maybe that's it. Maybe just everything's they turned over a new leaf and here they are. They showed a lot of speed. I mean, heck, they were in the top 5 like by a lap 2. Like Joe Gibbs had all found their way to like inside the top 5. So, maybe that's it. Maybe Joe Gibbs just needs the distractions gone, and Ty Gibbs has actually had a really good year. If we didn't miss that week at the 600, the kid had a great race before he got wrecked, and it was nothing of his doing. So, Joe Gibbs is definitely, I would say, caught up to Hendrick. Hendrick was gone at the beginning of the year, but I think Joe Gibbs is right there now.
I don't know if they're quite on Hendrick's level yet, but I think they are close to getting there. 100%. I don't think they have shown the speed and dominance that Larson had at the beginning. Yes, obviously that's one guy, but Larson, I mean, I think the turning point in all of that, honestly, was Hamlin and Larson's battle at Kansas?
Kansas.
I think that was a big turning point in the Hendrick versus JGR this season.
Yeah,
I agree.
But yeah, what else we got to talk about? Oh, this is a big topic. Reddick cutting the course to get the pit lane.
That's
Oh my
not
God,
our big
come on
topic.
now.
That's your big topic.
Yeah,
That was
come
not
on
my
now.
big topic. That was 100%
man.
not my big topic. You guys,
I'll say
I
this.
think you guys started that in the chat.
I'll say this: Reddick was smart. I mean, it saved NASCAR from throwing a yellow because he doesn't have to go around the whole track. He just went back around the pits. He went backwards. So I mean, it wasn't like he was hurting anybody but himself. So I don't blame him. I mean, I would have probably done that too if I was in his situation. Like instead of having to hurt your car more, go all the way around the track. I mean, why not just hook a right and just go back to where you came from? So.
Yeah, I mean, if you can think of credit to him to think of it that quick. Like, who the heck? I mean, that's kind of like a Ross Chastain, wall thing. Who the heck thinks that quick? Like the tire goes down, he's like, you know what? I'm just gonna cut the course over to pit road instead of going all the way around. So credit to him for the heads up play. I think it was the big brain move of the week, if you want to say. I think. I mean, I thought it was smart. He, like you said, he went backwards theoretically, safely though. He went backwards safely and got his car to pit road. He was screwed either way. So I guess NASCAR gave him a penalty because it really didn't matter at that point and made it look like they had more control. If they don't throw him, they don't give him a penalty. It looks like guys can do whatever now. Hey, so I get the point on that, but I mean, I didn't have any problem with it.
I understand the penalty. He literally hurt himself more than he gained. So I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know. It's kind of like that Edwards rule when he passed all those guys at Daytona. I forget which
Oh
race
God.
it was.
Yeah, where
But
they were
remember, he
like
passed
hitting
all the
all over
guys that are at the yellow, like to avoid the accident.
He didn't pass
But they
anybody
still
though. They all
No, no,
passed him.
exactly.
he
But he
passed
went below
nobody.
the. He passed the one car to avoid the accident that was pitting.
He was
you're
crashing.
talking about no,
Exactly.
we're talking about the incident where like Carl Edwards had to dive down to miss the guys
Yes.
hitting,
Daytona.
Yeah,
and then
Yeah.
came back on track, but
but
lost
lost
spots
like
on
10
the actual
spots. Yes.
on the
And he
actual
still
track.
got a
And
penalty for
Right.
passing.
Yeah, NASCAR gave him a penalty for passing the
Mhm.
cars that were pitting though,
Right.
which was dumb.
So yeah, so I'm saying that's kind of like on the same lines of
Yeah.
that. Like he still hurt himself more than
Mhm.
he gained. So I mean, I don't understand why you gave him a penalty,
I agree.
but they
with
had to do something. So
I agree with the penalty.
You're just gonna run salt in the wound that bad. It's like, you know what?
congrats, you're still gonna finish 32nd.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not like Blaney would have got spun out 3 more times and he would have got past behind him. So, but
Jesus Christ.
Well, what else we got to talk about? I didn't even write down any notes or anything for this one.
who knows? We're just winging it.
I figured it was going to be all over the place. I think
Talk about the
that's-
500. I mean, we didn't talk about the 500 at all.
Yeah, congrats to New Garden.
Yeah.
Oh, that five. I was trying to think. I'm like, yo, the Daytona 500.
No, not
was
the Daytona
5
500.
months
The
ago.
Indy 500. Indy 500.
All right, Kat, go ahead and
No.
talk about the 500.
Well, I loved it. I mean, seeing New Garden win was probably the best, my opinion, the best moment of the weekend. Because seeing him win and then jump in the stands like he did, but almost all the way up there, that was something that you don't see hardly ever. I mean, you see people like Stewart and Elio that climb the fence, but going through the fence and running up through the fans, that was really cool to see.
Oh, absolutely.
And
That was a very distinctive celebration.
Yeah, and then we saw, of course, Ryan Blaney copy them at the next night, and then seeing the Penske sweep, that was pretty cool. It amazes me that no one's ever done that before.
I mean, also
Yeah.
Joseph Newgard wasn't the only thing to go into the stands like during that race either. So
Jesus.
Only if the tire would went to your side.
Jesus.
Dang.
jeez,
Good
Did you see
lord.
what it did to the car, though? It really wasn't
Yeah.
damaged that bad.
which
I
the
expected
thing
a
that-
lot more damage to that
The thing
car.
that amazes me is there were 350,000 plus people there, and that tire didn't hit a damn person, not
Good.
one.
Because
like-
that would have
like,
killed
that's just-
somebody.
Oh yeah, if it teleports like 20 feet to the right, like that's in the stands, you have the biggest tragedy since who knows when. But I don't know, but yeah, that would definitely knocked out a bunch of people, but yeah, just the atmosphere. I mean, that was my second 500 I've been to, and just the atmosphere is just something you really can't describe unless you're there. So I'd recommend going to at least one Indy 500 in your guys' lifetime just to be around all the people, all the intoxicated people too. So yeah, so it's a once in a lifetime thing.
You gonna go next year?
I would definitely go. I'm not going to the snake pit. We went by the snake pit, and there was a lot of partying going on down there. So,
There's a reason it's
So-
called the steak pit.
well, there was a lot of people probably conceived in the snake pit on 2023. So yeah, there was a lot of partying.
That was said on the
Huh?
broadcast too. That was said on the broadcast too.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I think it was. I think it was Townsend Bell said it.
Jesus.
Said that on the broadcast?
Yeah.
That's funny. Oh,
Yeah, I didn't watch it at all, the Indy. I watched a little bit of Formula One at Monaco, but that was about it. And then obviously NASCAR, but no racing on Sunday.
Yeah. Because, NASCAR racing was supposed to race like at night or whatever, and they obviously didn't have anything going on. I tuned in for most of it. And super happy for Newgarden. Nashville, Tennessee's got an Indy 500 winner. That's absolutely awesome. Um, I forget the dude's name that finished second and kind of cried at the end about what we've never had a one lap sprint before. Blah blah blah.
Marcus Erickson.
There you go. I know he won it last year. I know that, but I don't know. I didn't really set great with me because like he acts like he just didn't have a restart where he got to pass, the leader and an instant caution, and then if they would have ended it, that's how he won the race. It's just flat out because an instant yellow. Like, come on, man. It's not like he was, dominating the race and then they did something fluky. No, 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 no. He just nudged out like a 3 wide, like barely for the lead, and he was going to get handed it if they didn't go back green. So I was really happy that Indy had their exciting finish, and Newgarden was able to outmuscle him there for the win. That's the number one thing that dude's been wanting is, it's been a while since he started his career. He's won championships, whatever, but all I ever hear about that dude is wanting a win in Indy 500, and he finally got one. So congrats to him. And it was honestly a really fun race. I thought, I don't watch Indy that much, but it was pretty exciting. So
I can't say I really watched any Indy races.
I thought it was cool.
I wonder if Penske has something to do with that.
What do you mean?
Oh, because
I
he
mean,
owns the track and
He owns the track. He owns the series.
Never been done before where they did that one lap shootout. I think his car's in second.
Hey, got to keep it exciting, just like NASCAR. I mean, Indy's got to do the same thing. Like you can't have spring crap. It's entertainment. At the end of the day, sports are entertainment.
Yep.
People got to remember that.
That's
And-
just like Formula One in 2021 when they did that.
Yeah,
The
they
championship.
They handed Max Verstappen the
Ah,
championship.
they did not
giving
hand
him-
it to him.
They did. They moved
I will
lap cars
fight
out
to
of the
the
way.
death for that one.
They moved lap cars out of the way. The most unheard of thing ever.
No,
Okay,
they let lapped cars unlap themselves. That's not unusual.
come on now.
Well, if that happens again, like next year, the year after that, will he still do that? Do you guys think?
That's what people ask for is consistency, and we'll
Mhm.
see. That's
I
how
will
stat
say
line-
one thing though. IndyCar did their damnedest to like beat NASCAR and like have as
Yeah.
many red flags and restarts in the final laps as what NASCAR would have for their. I mean, they should just adopt the overtime policy. Just literally instead of having a red flag it. So
Exactly. That just solved the whole problem. If they want exciting finishes and sprints and everything at the end, and drivers don't want a one-lap sprint, well, then just do what NASCAR does, the green, white checkers. And it wouldn't have been a one-lap sprint, it'd been a
Right.
2. They wouldn't have had a red flag crap. Like, that just makes everything a whole lot easier. So they want the entertainment purposes, just do that. Good call,
Yep.
Tuck.
But one last thing before we go on to our championship 4 picks here. Did you guys see that in Chicago, some of NASCAR's equipment was stolen?
I did.
You can't make this up.
I think I was going to
this event literally is going to be either a like hit or B just a complete flop in the face.
Yep.
So,
It's going to be the greatest thing ever or a flop.
Yeah,
And I'm definitely
no in
going with the
between.
I'm going with the latter one.
No matter what, it's going to be entertainment. No doubt
It is
about it.
not going to be entertaining.
Come on
That
now.
is gonna be the biggest
going to win
snooze
by like
fest.
15 seconds.
I
Yes.
will say,
Guarantee it.
as Kat kind of hit on it earlier with Harvick, as a Ross fan, same boat. We're both, we have a great points gap to the gap. But we saw this with Truex and Blaney last year where they were in the same boat, and then Luis kept going by and new guys kept winning. You never know. So as a Ross fan, events like this scare me because what if AJ's down in points? He's going to have to win. This is a race that I think he's the favorite for. So if AJ wins, bam, there's another new winner. And we got
AJ doesn't
Daytona
have to
still.
win.
I think he does.
He's
I don't-
33 points out.
I don't know.
gonna have
The guys on the bubble right now are like Bowman with a penalty and stuff, and then there's a big gap. I don't know. I just don't see AJ personally pointing in. He could, but I think he's gonna have to win a road course, and especially with new guys winning, there's gonna be more guys win. So, and we'll see. I could be wrong on that, but
got Daytona plate track, Atlanta pretty much a plate
Yeah.
track now.
Those are 3 wild cards, like by far wild cards. And I think we got, don't we have another road course in there before the
You
playoffs?
got Indy, Roval,
Mhm.
Watkins Glen.
Yeah. These are
Yeah.
all
And the
tracks.
street course.
Yeah,
Yeah, the street course.
I feel like we're getting one too.
I feel like we are, but
Look at the schedule. Because you got the
The-
Indy Road Course.
They just got done with Sonoma, so you got the
Uh,
Chicago Street Course, Indy
Oh,
Roval,
the
and
Roval.
Watkins
The,
Glen.
the Roval's in the playoffs though, so you
Mhm.
still have technically 4 more road races.
Well, yeah,
so.
but that's in the playoffs, so that doesn't count towards.
Right.
Still, there's a lot of tracks that, a Chris Buescher or, AJ
Michael
Allmendinger
McDowell.
can win, Michael McDowell. Like,
Michael
those guys
Speed.
can win, and then, Ross and Harvick, while they look great now, could be like sweating bullets like Blaney and Truex were at Daytona last year. So,
Mhm.
I just like Cat. I kind of hope Ross could win a race soon. Just not only just if we can get the monkey out the back, but just so I can stop worrying about it.
Oh, y'all only got to wait 5 more races, and then he doesn't have to win.
What do you mean by that?
Well, there's been 10 different winners this season.
Yeah.
Are we gonna get to 16?
There's
Or
11 races left before the
10
playoffs.
races.
10 races.
I don't think we get to 16, but I do think there's a
Different
really great
winners?
chance.
No. I think we're
No.
gonna. I think we're gonna
there's a
hit 14.
possibility.
I
Yeah,
think
that's what I'm
14.
about to say. I think 14 is the magic number, which is
Mhm.
why
It's
that
still
they
pretty-
will
Well,
still
let's
be
look. Let's look
yeah.
at the guys who
fun.
haven't won yet. So you got
Chastain,
Harvick, Chastain,
Brad,
Brad Buscher,
Bowman,
Bowman Elliott, Allmendinger.
all guys that can win at
Yeah.
any of these tracks coming up.
Yeah. So I think there's a possibility to get to right to 16.
Even what Cindric, Almirola can, even Priest maybe at New
Mhm.
Hampshire.
Justin Haley could win Daytona too.
All right, let's calm down there.
Hey, and
I'm just saying.
Toyota and Bubba are hot. I could see Bubba still want to win. I could see Ty Gibbs. He continues to get
Bubba
better.
ran
He
good
could
at
win.
Michigan last year.
Mm.
Yeah, I mean,
Bubba got on the pole, got second. To
we
Harvick.
talked about at the beginning of this year. I mean, this field is stacked. There is a lot of cars that can win races every week. So
Corey LaJoy,
yeah.
he should have won Atlanta before Elliott put him in the wall.
Facts.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Corey LaJoy could win Atlanta. That is very,
Yeah.
very factual.
If one of you guys pick him for Atlanta, I swear to God, because he is my.
That week.
I already got him locked in as my sleeper pick.
Good lord.
Watch it come down to like 15 drivers to Daytona, and like everybody everything happens like it did last year, and then here comes Ty Dillon to win the Coke
yes.
Zero 400 and makes the playoffs from 33rd in points.
Imagine how
Uh,
awkward it would be for me if like he wins and like knocks Ross out or some crap. Because like, I
Yeah,
always
he'd
stand
have
up
a
for
win.
Ty Dillon. But then if he were to do that, man.
Well, you got to remember last year, Truex was in the playoffs because Ryan had gotten that wreck early on. His car was
Mhm.
damaged.
Yep.
The only reason Truex missed that playoff was because
It was Austin
he
Dillon
went.
won.
Everyone right.
Well, no, he went through the grass to miss that wreck that he didn't have to do. Remember, and he ripped the front end off the car.
Right, but then Austin Dillon won the race though too, which Seth also
Well,
knocked out.
yeah, right. But
Yeah.
but if Truex didn't go through the grass for some dumb reason, he's in the playoffs.
That's true.
Friendly
know?
reminder: if Kurt Busch doesn't get hurt, both Ryan
Oh,
Blaney and
100%.
Truex would've been out,
Absolutely.
Oh yeah.
which
So-
is crazy to think about because both guys were running right at top 5 in points.
Yeah, Ryan
So-
was second or third. Truex was fourth. Yeah, and that's what I hate about the playoff system now, man. There is no reason 2 guys in the top 5 in points all season long should not make the playoffs. That is what I hate most about the win in your end because you got guys. I like Michael McDowell, but you got guys like him that go out there and get a fluke win at Daytona in the 500, and they make the playoffs and run 27th all season.
McDowell was literally
why-
top 20 that whole year though too.
That's
It's
why I
120.
think the top 10 in points should get in,
Get
and the
locked
last
in.
6 in the
Yeah,
last
that's
6 spots should be wild card spots, as
Agreed.
in guys who win, or they can point if not if
Mhm.
guys have won. I think that's how it should be.
I-
Like,
It's
that's
kind
a
of like
good-
how they did in
solid
2000,
number.
I
in
agree with that.
2011 to 2013. Is that how
Yeah.
they did it? Like they had the wild card spots.
Yeah, they kind of. I think that's kind of what they did to Chase, right? They had like 10 and then 2
Mhm.
wild card
Mhm.
spots.
Because they
so-
did the top 10 and then 11 through 20. Whoever had the most wins would get 11 and 12.
Yeah, see, so something like that. But they like bigger fields. That's why I said
Right.
16. So it's 6 wild card spots. That makes sense to me. That way, you can run consistent all year without winning and you're fine. If you're in the top 10, you can also run terrible and win a race and still find a way in. So I think that's kind of the best of both worlds like that. Instead of having a situation where the guy third and fourth in points are battling each other to make the playoffs.
Right.
That's
I agree.
insane to say. Imagine that's the equivalent of somebody like a 12-5 and 11-6 NFL team having to fight each other week 17 to make the playoffs because their like division and conference were so strong or something.
And then
Like,
you got the Browns at 6
Yeah,
and
the
10
eight-
making the playoffs.
yeah, because their division sucks. And they freaking like, yeah.
But all right, Kat, start us off. Who are your 4 picks for the championship 4?
Okay, so one's gonna be Larson. I mean, he could be sitting like at 5-6 wins right now if mistakes didn't happen or mysterious cautions or anything. So I'm gonna go with him, Kyle Busch, Truex, and I'm gonna say Joey Logano's gonna be in there. He hasn't had a good year, well, a great year, but he didn't have a great year last year either. So I mean, I would have been biased and put Harvick in there, but he hasn't won yet. He may not even make the playoffs. So I think those would be my top 4.
Okay. Matt?
Keep it short and sweet. I'm going Byron, Blaney, KFB, and Kyle Larson.
Peyton?
Okay, well, I don't trust Ford. Ford's been behind Toyota and Chevy all year, so I'm not going to go with any Ford guys. I'm going to go with KFB. Been too hot. Kyle Larson just has too much speed and too much talent. I'm going to put him in there. I can't go all Chevy, so I'm going to go. I think Truex is just probably the most consistent and the hottest Toyota, and I just trust him more than like Denny Hamlin or Steve Bell. So I'm going to go Truex. And then I refuse to believe the slump is going to just carry over and just be a full season thing. I'm going to put Ross making it again just because that team before Darlington was one of the one of the cars that was up front every week. So that's my final 4.
Okay.
Before you go, Peyton, you realize Ford was still behind Chevy and Toyota last year too, right?
Mhm.
They were, and Logano found a way to make it. Then he stole the championship. So I mean, I could be fully wrong on that, but Ford is just kind of. I mean, as a manufacturer as a whole, from all teams, the only team I can say that has surpassed what I thought they could do is RFK. Other than that, Ford themselves have all just kind of been off week in and week out. I mean, Blaney won the 600 and everything, but they do not have consistently the speed of Toyota and Chevy. So I just don't
Blaney's
trust them
third in the
now.
points.
Yes, Blaney is the outlier of that. I will say that.
Harvick's 5th in the points.
Yes.
Harvick-
Okay. Y'all gonna go through like yes. Okay, I get that, but consistently, who's winning races? I mean, Ford's won how many races this season, and then how many races has Chevy and Toyota won? It's kind of a big gap.
All right. Well, I'm glad to see we all agree that Kyle Busch is probably the favorite to win it right now. So mine is
Here,
gonna
I'll
be-
just
all right,
give
I
you
guess I'll
Ronnie's
just
pick.
go.
I'll just give you Ronnie's picks. It's going to be Ryan Blaney and Corey LaJoy.
Yep, LaJoy's making it in Atlanta. He's winning Atlanta, and then that team's gonna turn into Hendrick Motorsports 2.0. And
Yeah, there you go.
He's
Those are your
sweeping
picks.
the final
I
8
saved it
round.
for you.
So Kyle Busch obviously is my first pick. Logano is my second. And then I'm gonna disagree with Andrew. I think Harvick makes it. And then Blaney.
You have 3 Fords in the
3
mile. You are
Fords.
insane. That is
Am
not.
I the
happening.
only one that took Byron?
Yes.
Yeah, Byron is too inconsistent when it comes to playoffs. I don't trust him.
Ford and Penske will show up when it comes to the playoffs, just
That's
like
true.
they did last season.
I will say, first car out for me It's Chase Elliott. I don't care he's not in the playoffs right now. I think Chase makes it, and I think he turns it around. I think he'll be around the border. I think he
I will
makes the
give
final.
you a round of 8 sleeper, and that is Chris Buescher.
Chris Buescher, interesting choice.
Where's Brad at in points?
10th,
Right behind
or
him.
12.
Not
Right behind
bad.
Buescher. Buescher won Bristol last year. He runs good in those round of 12 races. There's a road course in there, Roval. So
Hmm.
I think he could sneak in the round of 8.
I go too.
They are probably the biggest guys that are hoping for no new winners is RFK, because RFK, they have, like 102 and 96 point gap to the cutoff, and they've got like about an 80 something point gap to 15. So it's really, RFK big gap, and then you've got Bubba, Bowman, Suarez, and all of them like pretty close together. So if only like 2 new winners happen the rest of the season, they're probably pretty. Like both of those guys are probably gold. Problem is asking for only 2 new winners in the last 10 races. I mean, how many we got left? Like, or is
10.
it more than that?
10
Is it 10?
races.
So they
Yeah.
gotta sweat out bullets and hope they just continue running consistent and not have new winners, and that's gonna be hard to ask. But yeah, both of them have had great speeds. I like the prediction. I mean, RFK, like I said, they've been the Ford team that's by far outperformed. I mean, Brad last year, we were making jokes about how bad of a decision it was for him to step out of the 2 car, a championship car, and then he starts running 25th like every single week. And now the dude, he's on a little cold streak for Brad because he was competing for wins there for a little while or running up front, but still, he has had way more speed this year. And Chris Buescher has obviously had consistent speed, so I like the prediction, Tug. We'll see if it works out.
Brad's issue last year was, what was it? Third race of the season, second race they got hit with the 100-point penalty.
That's it. That's too. But even
You know.
without the 100 points, he still was
Mhm.
not right in points at the end of the season.
Well, I mean, you gotta remember, that was, what is that?
Josh Balicki's doing a giveaway on Twitter.
Is it because he beat Ryan Blaney?
I don't know. He's giving out his shirt.
But yeah, I think those are some pretty good Final Four predictions.
I'm pretty confident
Pretty
that
bold.
we'll get a lot of those correct.
Mhm.
I would say. I don't see anybody getting one. Like, I don't see any of us not getting at least one correct. That would be
No,
man,
Kyle
that'd be rough.
Busch.
Yeah, Kyle.
We're
Kyle
all
Busch
getting
would-
Kyle.
Damn.
Watch
Yeah.
Kyle Busch come out here and get eliminated in a round of 16.
Yeah, it could happen.
He just
That
has
could.
3 terrible races.
You blow up one race and then you're right on the bubble with with
Mhm.
playoff points. So we saw that happen last year.
No one's guaranteed a spot.
No.
That's kind of, I guess, the beauty of the playoff system.
Mm.
So
I mean, Chase Elliott had all those playoff points built up, and he almost
Almost.
failed to transfer.
right.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what's crazy is like think about like Ross and Chase and all them. Like they had an amazing round. Ross, I
Mhm.
think, finished second both weeks prior, and then Martinsville, obviously, he was running like 8th, and then did the thing, and then got like top 5 or whatever. But still, I mean, they both had amazing rounds, and then almost missed out because of guys below them in points winning with Seabell and whoever else won that round. I forget who it was, but yeah, I mean, it just takes the wrong guy winning, or you having just even. Like especially early on, one bad race and your
Mhm.
season could be over. So who knows? That's what's fun with NASCAR playoffs is while I don't think it's the perfect way of picking, the best driver of the year, at least it brings entertainment. Absolutely no one is safe. Anything could happen. And that's kind of the same thing that happens in the NFL and NBA playoffs and everything like that. So I guess it lines up with sports. There's fluky ways for you to move on in the rounds and in the playoffs. So we'll see what happens.
Absolutely. Well, y'all got any closing comments here before we end this thing? We're almost at an hour and a half.
Welcome back, MVC. Fox was okay, I guess. We didn't really talk about that. I'll miss Mike Joy and Clint Boyer's okay, but I'm excited to see Junior back in the booth. Personally, I really like Junior. Junior brings a lot of excitement, and a lot of good intel. So I'm excited for MVC to be here. Hopefully they're not as bad on commercials and crap, but hey, I understand that's how the sport works and pays their bills. So, yeah, we're close to halfway in NASCAR season. We're close to halfway in NEXXTCAR, so things are just ramping up. It's exciting.
Welcome back, NBC, and welcome back, Ronnie Noggle, to the broadcast booth.
Yeah,
too.
even Ronnie's back.
Yep.
Oh,
Yeah,
everybody's
I
coming
was
back.
thinking about, and I
Hell,
mentioned
just
it.
bring Zimmer back.
No,
Oh my God.
I mentioned it in the booth broadcast. How ironic that was. Last season, in season 2, week 7 was my last race at Atlanta, and then I came back in week 7 of this year. I just thought that was kind of ironic.
There you go.
But yeah, no, I love Clint Boyer, man, because he does not care what comes out of his mouth. He is gonna say just like when Hamlin crashed into the wall.
Yeah.
I about died laughing when he goes, I have Mike Joy over here crying because we're about to go off the air for the rest of the year, and then I look down and there's Hamlin crying on the front stretch hitting the wall. I was like, good God, Boyer. Like, he just does not care what comes out of his mouth. And him and Tony together are perfect. And I can't wait to see what Harvick does up there. Because Harvick's been good in the Xfinity broadcast. So I cannot wait to see what he does.
Agreed. Clint Boyer is full of emotion. Like, he's kind of like the average fan. If we put any of us in the booth, like, we don't care what we say. Sure, he's not the most professional, but I think us NASCAR fans kind of like that. Sure, he makes his mistakes and everything, but hey, not everybody's gonna be Mike Joy. I mean, come on now. So I like Clint Boyer personally. Sure, he has his bad moments, but he's fun.
Oh, yeah. You got to have that in the broadcast.
Exactly.
You can't have, like you said, you can't have the professionalism all the time. Because then that's where it just gets boring.
Yeah, I mean,
Hey,
think about it. Like, when they tried to
you're-
censor him. Like,
Mhm.
what?
Your Stacy is in the comments
Nice.
discussing, saying playoff is stupid now.
she?
Poor Denny, and Denny is a wuss. So
Oh, yep.
Sure.
And then his kids
I
have
agree.
made him an amazing man. Agreed. His
Yep.
kids have definitely changed Bush around for the better.
I
You know,
agree with that.
I love the comment real quick. It was on TikTok on the Dale Jr. download. Carl Edwards for the All-Star race, and when he was doing the booth broadcast, during the driver intros, Kyle Busch walked across the stage, and Carl Edwards looks at Jr. because he was getting all these cheers and everything, and Edwards looks at Jr. and goes, "The hell's that all about?" And Jr.'s like, "Yeah, man, ever since he went to RCR, he's a changed man, and everybody loves him now because back when Edwards raced, he was the most hated man in NASCAR, So that comment was pretty good. Definitely shows just how certain things go down, and it changes a individual's perspective on, an event or a person so that's pretty good. But all right, y'all got anything else?
Nah, it was fun being here. I don't know what we're going to talk about next week. I mean, NASCAR's off for the week. NEXXTCAR is doing an all-star race next week. So
I got a feeling we're gonna have a lot to talk about next week for NEXXTCAR.
you
Yeah.
want to announce the format now on the podcast, or we're gonna wait till Sunday?
No, we'll
What?
wait till Sunday.
All right.
okay.
Honestly, I'm hyping it up for absolutely nothing. I don't even know what we're doing.
It's just gonna be a freaking
I
Legos
honestly don't
race.
even know what we're doing.
Oh,
I'm
my
just
Lord.
trying to hype.
Oh my-
I'm just trying to hype stuff up.
Jesus. Hey, we still have Xfinity tomorrow. Don't forget. So the week's not fully over.
Yeah. Yep.
You see all the 6 people at race tomorrow.
Hey,
Where's Xfinity even at?
Kansas.
Oh,
Kansas.
it's-
Kansas.
Kansas.
So
All right, guys. Well, that's going to do it here for week 6 and 7 of the NEXXTCAR podcast. Had to combine them because obviously we missed the last 2 weeks, but that's going to do it for this one, and hope to see you guys here next week when we do it all over again. Enjoy the rest of your week, and good